I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational. But that just wouldn't be our style. Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever. Right on. Shotgun. DC right. Flip 90 dig. On the center. Ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Bills Guys, presented by Buffalo Fanatics. As always, you will find myself, David Tilton, hosting tonight. However, we have a bit of a special episode for all of you tonight. I will be in the driver's chair, joined by some of our very special and important viewers and guests that have been loyal viewers and super chatters along the way here in our journey on the Fanatics. So tonight, my first guest of the evening is going to be none other than Mr. Dan Brown, straight from Hawaii. You can see it's nice and sunny there.
Not right now, actually.
Well, it looks sunny to me. It looks sunny to me. He's got the Hawaii 5-0 name. Dan Brown is in the house. You all know Dan. He's a super chatter. He's our admin on our Buffalo Fanatics page on Facebook. So, Dan, what's going on? Say hi to everyone.
What's up, everyone? I was really excited about this. David and Steve reached out to me last week, asking, hey, do you want to come on the show for like 20, 30 minutes and talk Bills with us? I was like, yeah, I'm not going to say no to that opportunity. So, I know all you guys watching, you guys, you follow us loyally and we appreciate it. It's awesome. One thing we all know we have in common is we love to talk Bills football, whether it's good, bad. We can do it all day. So by doing stuff like this, I think it's great. It kind of it can be a bright spot in your day, or just kind of get your day going.
Exactly. Well, let's give a quick shout out to some of our regulars now that are in the chat room tonight. AK Cash is in. Ryan Teal is in. Ryan's gonna have to explain to me if he can in the comments. He always puts this I guess it's like a tree, two trees surrounding like two eyeballs. I don't know what that means. I mean, maybe I'm dumb. I don't know what that means. Ryan, explain to me in the comments what that means, and I'll read it out. So we got AK Cash is in, PJ Tig is in, the Gaming Beast, Jacob Baker's in, Bills Guys, and Bobby. Dan, your favorite guy. Bobby is in the house. Lone Wolf is in the house. Scott Blakely's in here. Ryan Sealback, another regular. Andrew Miller says no judge tonight. He's got a parent-teacher conference, so he is a man of responsibility, and he is handling those responsibilities tonight. Daniel Gowries is in the house. Grindy, Buffalo Mafia News, another regular of ours. Captain Trips, Sean Austin, Koala Bear Khan, another regular. Randy Hardman, don't want to miss you. Andrew Miller, of course. And so we've got a lot of people in the house. Bobby says, boo, we want Judge. Well, I mean, I'm sorry. This is all you're getting tonight. You're getting me, you're getting Dan, you're getting another couple special guests later on. Randy Hardman says, don't lie, he's crying over Spain's release still. Yes, we've seen Steve be quite vocal on Twitter lately about the release, some snarky comments, as we call him, at Buffalo Fanatics, Snarky Steve, and he has been nothing short of snarky since that has happened. Buffalo Mafia News says, laughing my ass off, watch Judge students, watch him cuss on hot takes. So yeah. So tonight, the theme at least at the beginning of the show, right? Because there's going to be a lot of previews coming out for the Jets-Bills game coming up. It's still only Thursday, so we're still relatively sort of early in the week when it comes to the injury report. We've got some injury report news that we'll get to later, but really what I want to start with, Dan, and I know this is something you wanted to talk about too, is the fan sentiment over the last, not even a week, right? Since Monday, really. And somewhat even going back to the Titans game. Let's be realistic here. Is there has been a faction of fans on social media, and Twitter's where I mainly live, and that's kind of where I see most of this. I don't know where you mainly live on social media, but this is where I mainly live. There has been a lot of factions of fans. There's like kind of the one faction that says, hey, the glass is still half full. And we've had some comments in here from people saying, look, it's still half full. We're still 4-2. We're still winning the division. We lost to 2 teams that were in the AFC Championship game last year. It's going to be okay. We'll get it figured out. But then you have the other faction of fans who are like, well, no, I'm concerned, right? I'm concerned with the defense. I'm concerned that the offense is kind of regressed the last couple of days. And Koala Bear Khan says Twitter is toxic TiltMoney, and yeah, it can be. You got to sift through a lot of shit on Twitter to get to some good. It's all about who you follow. I'm telling you, it's like you got to mute the people that are no good. You got to follow the right people. You don't want your timeline getting crowded with that. But I digress. So Dan, I want to get your opinions, your thoughts on kind of what you've seen out of Bills Mafia, out of the Bills fans the last sort of week and a half, post the Titans loss, and then even post the Chiefs loss. Where do you come out personally, and kind of what do you think about this whole notion that maybe the Bills are like, is it a glass half full? Or should we be concerned? Where do you personally come out on this? And I'm gonna check out some of the comments too while you're talking about it.
For me, it's I always like to look at optimism. Don't get me wrong, we got to fix some stuff. Defense is number one on my list. We saw in the last 2 games we got gashed. When we played the Titans, we did a good job holding Henry. But for the most part, we got Tannehill threw all over. But I feel like, and I was looking at that game like, all right, Tennessee had a couple weeks to rest. We didn't know who we were playing, this and that. So I kind of gave us the benefit of the doubt a little bit. We got our asses kicked. But, when I was looking at this game, first possession, was it Andre Roberts? He had that ball and he just popped it up in the air and then, they took it down. All right, 7 points. Okay, I get that, And then we had that one, Bajorquez hit a punt and then he took it to the 30. They were giving them short field. So I'm like, it's kind of hard to work with. And then when we were kind of driving back and then Allen made that bad throw. I don't know where the hell he was throwing that to. That kind of sucked. But, that kind of, but I was like, all right, whatever, all right, focus up for the Chiefs. And I knew going into that Chiefs game, it was going to be a rough one. They're the Super Bowl champs. Some of their key players are playing, but they're still Super Bowl champs. You still have Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, list goes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the list went on and on. And watching that game, it was rough to watch. Just, Clyde Edwards just gutting us 8 yards, 10 yards, 8 yards, 8 yards. I was, I'm watching this game and going, what the hell's going on? You guys are making their key blocks. We're not in the tackles, and it was rough. And and I think a big part of it that's so hard for us to watch is because last year we were top 5 in defensive overall. We were winning games with our defense, and that was a big thing. So so bringing to my point is that so I approve most of the comments and posts on the Buffalo Fanatics Facebook page, and people really let their feelings go on this thing, And I get being frustrated because I was frustrated, but I see a lot of people, where they go off the edge, they act like, like a child, saying, oh, what, screw this team, and why did we get Allen? We should have had Mahomes, and just blah blah blah. He's like, Ed Oliver's a waste of a top 10 pick. I'm like, guys, shut up. Like, you're in your feelings, okay? And I get that. But you gotta have to let this process. Let's take back to what Rico said on his show last week about who would you have, like Mahomes or Allen. You gotta. People. I feel like a lot of people don't think like, yeah, we got Mahomes. But look who Mahomes had to coach him. He's got a Hall of Famer, Andy Reid. A guy who builds quarterbacks. And he has a talent built around him. He had Tyreek Hill. He has Travis Kelce. He had all these weapons to kind of build them up. I'm not saying that, if we got Mahomes, where we'd be at, but, I feel like, what we get out of it, we got Trey White out of it. We got an all-pro corner. We got an extra first-round pick, a couple extra picks that landed us Tremaine Edmonds, and then eventually our guy, Josh Allen. So, yeah, like they always say, hindsight is always 20/20. But, it's, yeah, I get it, because as Bills fans, we're very emotional fans. When we win, we're like, oh, man, we're going to the Super Bowl, blah, 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 But when we lose, like, oh, it's the same old Bills, blah, 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 So it's always funny to kind of see it that way, But But for the last couple of weeks, I've been seeing a lot of negative posts, and like I said, there's a difference between criticizing and you're right, and then just saying crazy stuff altogether.
Yeah, no, totally. So we've got some people really slamming your audio situation right now. So I don't know if there's something you could, is there something you can do? Maybe turn your phone horizontally. Bobby recommended. I mean, it's okay. Don't worry about it too much. If you can't, it's all good. Let's give Dan a break here, guys. He's trying his best here, and what he said is true, because at the end of the day, we are only 6 games into this season, right? And I get where some people are coming from, right? The defense hasn't been great. The offense really did play well for 4 games, and the last 2 games weren't their best. But in my opinion, honestly, it hasn't been Josh Allen's fault, to the extent that some people are making out to be, that the offense was the reason we lost the game. There was a lot of people, and this was a kind of an interesting debate on Twitter. I saw a lot of people kept saying, oh, the Chiefs only scored 26 points. And so it started this whole conversation around, well, did the Chiefs only score 26 points because of the game plan we kind of went with, which was to kind of play coverage and allow them to run a little bit? Obviously, didn't expect them to run for 250 yards. But the other argument was, well, the Chiefs only scored 26 points because that's all they needed to score. They were just running it because that's what we were giving them. If they needed to score more, if they needed to pass more, if they needed to do more to score, they would have. So there was a lot of back and forth I saw on social media around that. And to be honest with you, like, we've probably been talking about we could be talking about a whole different situation if a couple plays here and there went differently, right? If the Justin Zimmer strip and the fumble was actually a fumble, and the knee wasn't down, and we got the ball down 6, like, who knows what would have happened, right? So while I kind of understand the point of, like, look, the Chiefs, they could have done what they wanted passing the ball. They could have, lit us up, and probably, right? Like, our pass defense hasn't been that great. They probably would have scored more. And that's kind of what I feel about this whole thing. Like, they were running the ball 7-8 yards a carry. They didn't need to pass the ball. So for the people that said, well, they only scored 26 points, like, I mean, did you watch the game? They didn't really have to do anything else more than that. So that's why, for me, like, when a lot of people kind of blame the offense and said the offense didn't do enough, I still have to say that there's a split blame here to go around between the defense and the offense. So that's where I kind of want to ask the viewers where they come out. Like, is this as we go into this Jets game and beyond, like, it seems pretty evident to me that people are more concerned right now about the defense, and especially that defensive line, than they are about the offense. So while, we've had a couple crappy drives and some turnovers here in the last couple games, like, you go back to the Titans game, Josh still threw for 2 touchdowns, 200 yards, 260 yards. Against the Chiefs, he still threw for 2 touchdowns. So for me, it's still about the defense, and I think that's still, for me, the area that deserves most of the blame, right? And that, to me, is the key here going forward, is can this defense get on track with this new defensive line, the new personnel we have from last year? Addison and Quentin Jefferson replacing Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson hasn't worked out that great so far. And the defensive line, which I admit I thought was going to be a strength for this team going into the season, really has been anything but. So I want to ask you, Dan, where do you kind of lay the blame here as we kind of move forward? Like, do you want to see the Bills? Like, what do you envision the Bills doing? Do you envision the Bills trying to make a move? Do you think they need to do anything on defense? Do you want to see them get their guys back from injury? Like, where do you come out on the Bills and what kind of moves they need to make to maybe improve this defense?
Well, I mean, for us, I mean, we kind of know it's like defensive line is our biggest struggle, which completely took me, like you said, took me by surprise, because I thought, I'm like, yeah, we ended up getting Quentin Jefferson and Butler and all this else. I was like, we're not going down, we're going up, in talent-wise. But one thing I did notice in that game was Jordan Zimmer. I believe he was a practice squad player, and he played pretty well. And I saw he got bumped up to the 15-man roster. So and I did notice they were making some changes in personnel. It's like, and the thing is, I mean, just like I said, it frustrates me. But you know, I think the thing is that McDermott is a defensive guy. We all know that. So, I mean, I feel like, I don't know who's calling the plays, you know, because I do see a lot of people calling for Leslie Frazier's head right now, too.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I don't know if that's all totally blamed because a lot of people have a lot of respect for him. And like I said, their defense has been good the last couple of years. But, you know, I mean, we should look at the trade market, you know, see what's out there. See, you know, we need to get a big boy in that middle of that defensive line, you know, plug up the holes. You know, so that's why I feel like, you know, when at the beginning when Star Lotulelei, when he opted out, I didn't think much of it. You know, I was like, I was actually kind of fun. I was like, all right, maybe we can get our other guys, you know, get the talent. But now, as I see it, I'm like, crap, we need him. You know, he takes up those lines, and you know, he helps our other players too. So, and one thing too is that, you know, obviously we need to get a little bit more healthy. I don't know, you know, Matt Milano, I know he's still limited. I think we can get away without him playing the Jets this week, you know, because obviously you don't want to, you know, re-injure him, but, you know, playing the Jets. But I feel like, you know, Matt Milano, I know we always talked about him, like, because when we were giving out contracts left and right, you know, the big topic was, does Matt Milano get his money before he walks? The way I'm seeing it now, you better lock that boy up. I mean, without Matt Milano, it is clear that we are hurting on that defense a little bit. And, you know, and the shame is that we shouldn't let one guy have, you know, dictate our whole defensive talent all the way around. You know, all the way around, excuse me. You know,
well,
so,
I agree with that, and I think that ties into Chris's comment here. He says, what big body do we have last year? We did have Star. Vernon Butler fills the job Star did for us. We have Quentin Jefferson, who's pretty darn big. We need to do our 1 out of 111th, and that's kind of like what it sounds like they're trying to preach to the guys, right? Like, do your job, be like, you know, don't try to do too much, or that, you know, that's where you kind of get into trouble. Right. So here's the thing, right? Like the trade deadline's coming up, right? And we see these moves happening. We see Yannick Ngakoue, who was a guy that a lot of Bills fans wanted to go after in the offseason as a trade target, now get traded from the Vikings to the Ravens for, to be honest with you, what equates to minimal draft capital for the Ravens to get a player of Ngakoue's stature. Now, from the cap situation, I don't know how we would have made it work. It's tricky, but it's tough right now, knowing that the struggles the Bills are going through on defense, to kind of see a move like that happen to a team that likely we're going to have to climb over at the end of the day in this AFC if we want to get to the Super Bowl, for a team like the Ravens, who are already stacked. And also, by the way, reported, not that this matters for the Bills, think they reported today that Des Bryant was also going to sign with the Ravens, or it was looking like he could. Yeah, so you see teams like the Ravens making moves. You see teams like the Chiefs going after and signing Le'Veon Bell. You know, what are teams like the Steelers going to do? Like, they've kind of stood pat because they haven't really needed to do anything. So the Steelers, you know, they're pretty well set on offense and defense. But what are the Bills going to do? So I want to hear what people think. Little Debbie says Jordan Phillips was underrated. Yeah, maybe, right? Jordan Phillips was, you know, not that great against the run statistically, but, you know, he was an emotional kind of like catalyst, I think, on that defensive line. Star being gone is obviously the big story here, right? He was probably underappreciated as a run stuffer, setting the tone for the rest of that line. And yeah, I mean, this is tough to kind of see some of these moves. So is there any one guy or position, before I let you go here, Dan, is there any one guy or position that you want to see the Bills go after at the trade deadline?
I mean, I don't really see any big players that, like, you know, who are on the trade market. I can't remember his name specifically, but I know some people were talking about it was from, I think he's for the Saints. He was the defensive lineman. He's a
Sheldon Rankins. Yeah,
that's it. You know, big dude, you know, can play, you know, trade a 4th, 5th round pick for him, you know, just to kind of plug up that line. So, but I mean, as we know, like, being as much as, you know, he does his wheeling and dealing and his magic, I noticed in the 3 years, he really doesn't do anything in the trade deadline. He kind of stays put. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that per se, but, you know, you got to think, okay, you're 4-2, you're still leading the division by 2 games. You know, if you can get that one difference maker, that could be the big difference into winning the division and so on. So, you know, I trust being at this point and McDermott be like, all right, we see if there's any guys willing out there, let's go get them. Like, I know Bean's not afraid to pull that trigger, So,
Exactly.
I mean, I'm kind of hoping, at the end of the day, I trust what they do. Other than the Quinton Spain, that was kind of weird. Like, that was really weird. Like, out of left field, I don't know if that was, but that's a whole nother story. But
Yep,
yeah,
agree.
But like I said, at the end of the day, I trust what these guys do. I'm still very confident in our team. Because I mean, you look at the number 6 games. You told me, you were gonna go 4-2, and
you take it, right? I mean, you take it.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, Dan. Well, thanks so much for joining and hopping on with me here on our sort of like roundtable of guest show we've got going on tonight. I'm jealous that you're in Hawaii, and it looks like that. I mean, it does look sunny there. I know you said it's not, but it looks like. And enjoy the Giants Eagles tonight. That division winner may end up winning 5 games, so who knows? But everyone. Please thank Dan for all the good work he does on the Facebook page. And obviously, he's always in here watching the show. So, Dan, thank you so much. And I really appreciate you coming on.
No, I appreciate it. And I apologize everyone about the audio. I didn't know. Like, Rico just texted me. He's like, take your damn AirPods out. I'm doing everything up. So if I'm back on, I'll make sure I'll take care of that.
All right, man. Sounds good. We'll take it easy. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
All right, everyone. So that's Dan Brown from the Facebook admin page. Sorry about some of those audio issues. We tried to work it out beforehand, and I don't think Dan didn't have a computer, so I think that was really the only audio he had. So we're going to move on now to our next guest, and I think everyone here is going to be very happy to see this guest because this man has been following Buffalo Fanatics for years. He's been following the Bills guys ever since we came over to Buffalo Fanatics, and you guys all know him in the chat room. It is none other than Mr. Cody Phinney, who is now joining me now on the show.
How we doing, brother?
Cody, I think people are going to be happy that your audio sounds a little better than Dan's.
I do my best for you guys.
So, Cody, you heard Dan and I talking before he went off about trade targets and sort of like moves we'd like to see the Bills make. So I want to kind of continue that discussion with you and talk a little bit about maybe some of the moves the Bills haven't made, right? That maybe they could have. And what is that signal to you in a way? Like the Bills really haven't done much other than promoting guys in-house. We saw Justin Zimmer get promoted to the 53 yesterday. Again, a lot of mixed kind of feelings on that. Like he had a couple splashy, okay plays in that Chiefs game, but by and large, like he honestly wasn't that great. So like, is it the flash plays? Is it the consistency? Like we need to find something that works here. And I want to get your thoughts on specifically the defensive line play. And is there anything you see out there in trade land or even within the roster that you could point to and say, hey, this is a silver lining for us. This is something we can look forward to that is going to be a positive for the Bills coming down the pipe here.
Well, to start with, I mean, I think Harrison Phillips has definitely underperformed this year. That's why he was a healthy scratch. I would like to see Trent Murphy go. Cody, who? What are you talking about? Get out of here, man.
He's messing with you. He's messing with you.
But no, I'm not a big fan of the whole rotation thing. Like, I think we should just put our best 4 out there: Mario Addison, Jerry Hughes. Apparently Zimmer's, making some plays. So, I mean, play the hot hand. And I don't know what's going on with Ed Oliver. I don't know if it's a sophomore slump or I don't know. He seems like he's on the ground more than anything. I don't know what's going on with that defensive line. I'd like to see us make a trade, but Bean and McDermott, dude, they're just so stubborn. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I want to ask you about that. Because there's Bean's been kind of Bean and McDermott have been. This is like really the first time, not the first time, but this is one of the few times where they've really kind of been getting some heat, right? They've been getting some criticism, whether it's on social media through other media outlets. Bean is getting a little bit of heat right now because it seems like the Bills aren't really doing anything to address clear deficiencies, and it seems like they're kind of just waiting around for guys to get healthy, for guys to improve, for maybe the excuse of not having the preseason. And ultimately, I don't know how much I buy into that, to be honest with you, because we're in the same boat as every other team. And there are I get it. Defensive play hasn't been that great in the NFL this year compared to past years. I mean, they did a whole spot on NFL Network or somewhere last week, and they're saying like how it was like the most points scored through 6 weeks in the NFL like ever.
Well, look at the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, what was it? I was reading a thing that they're on pace to be like the fifth the fifth most points scored like on the defense in NFL history right now, the Dallas Cowboys. So I mean, it's there's a lot of offense this year for some reason, and I don't think it has anything to do really with the preseason. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. I don't know. I hate the freaking kind of point fingers, and I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I know our defense, it needs to get fixed like now. Sean McDermott was supposed to be a defensive guru, and now it's all falling apart. And I don't know. Like, not even Trey White looks the same. Like I was talking on our channel, Built in Buffalo. Do you think possibly that it might have something to do with the level of competition that we've been playing? So like last year, we didn't really play a lot of stronger offenses, so it was a little bit easier to contain the wide receivers and the quarterbacks. And then if you look at the offenses we played this year, so maybe the level of competition masked our weaknesses. You know what I mean? Could that be something to do with the defense, or
something to do with it, but not all the way, right? Because our defense was good even against some of the better teams last year. I mean, like, we did okay against the Ravens, right? There was that one big play to Hayden Hurst that got him that touchdown.
Well, we were one play away from winning that game.
One play away, and the defense played well against Dallas with Dak Prescott last year in Dallas. And against New England, both times we played pretty well on defense. The Steelers obviously didn't have Big Ben.
Yeah.
So that was a hit. And, yes, we didn't play the greatest of offenses last year. Denver wasn't good. Washington wasn't good. We played Miami twice. They weren't good. The Jets obviously were not that great. So, I mean, the Steelers without Big Ben. So you kind of look down that schedule and you say, oh, okay, well, maybe that is some of it. But at the end of the day, this defense to me isn't passing the eye test that they did last year, regardless of the opponent. This defense is not playing as well as it did last year. The personnel that we have is largely the same, other than the defensive line, which in my opinion, I thought was going to be, as good as it was last year with the guys we brought in, with Addison, with Quentin Jefferson, Epinesa being drafted.
Do you feel we overpaid for our defensive line?
Well, Steve's not going to want to hear this, but he was like
production.
He was really big on Addison coming into this year. Addison's averaging 9-10 sacks a year for the last 4 seasons.
Well, he does have 3 this year, doesn't he already?
He does, but are they hollow stats? Are they hollow statistics?
Yeah. See, like look at last sack. I mean, what it was he was like getting pancaked, and he kind of just got pushed right into Mahomes. So I mean, that was more luck than anything, if you ask me. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I think our biggest need is obviously a true edge, an edge rusher, but I also think we severely need another cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
I think that cornerback 2 position is what's really needed. During the offseason, I wanted us to trade for Darius Slay. He was traded away for a 2nd-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine Trey White and Darius Slay. And you got Edmonds, Milano in the middle, then you got Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer over top. Good luck throwing on that.
No, and I'm with you. I think corners a need. I think the signing of Josh Norman, we probably, well, at least I did. I thought that he was going to come in and really play well in place of, Levi Wallace at that CB2 spot. We're hurting right now at corner too. Trey, not practicing. Obviously, Levi is out, and Cam Lewis is banged up as well. So we are really. So you mentioned edge rusher, and like a lot of people in the comments section saying, we need a big, we need a one technique. We need a big guy to clog that middle. And it's like, we have some guys, right? We have Vernon Butler. We have Harrison Phillips. We have, we have some guys there, but clearly we're missing star. And clearly the edge rushers that we have, Jerry Hughes and Mario Addison,
they're just not
main too,
and
Trent Murphy are just not getting it done, right?
No.
And not that we expected big sack numbers out of Trent Murphy, but like Mario Addison and Jerry Hughes, those are supposed to be the guys, right? I mean, they're supposed to be the guys early on, and Epinesa may be coming along as the season wears on, but it just hasn't been the same with these guys. And McDermott's outfits have never been a big sack total outfits as far as his defense is. His best kind of lineman or edge guys have been like Charles Johnson, Greg Hart, like those types. But it's fine if you contain the quarterback, if you're getting pressure and you're able to make them feel comfortable. And we're not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at last week. I mean, he was freaking pushing right in the middle. I mean, Mahomes was just running out right out the edge. I mean, like, it was nothing. So we definitely need. I mean, do you feel that maybe Jerry Hughes might be either a cut or a trade candidate by next offseason because of his? I mean, there's a low dead cap, and what was it? I think we would free up. You're talking about $9 million just for Jerry Hughes alone.
Yeah,
is it about that time? He's. I think is he on the decline? And time.
I would say yes, but then who are you going to replace him with? Unless you draft somebody early, like a first round type. But again, we expect the Bills to be drafting kind of late in the first round. Unless you make
I mean, we all know we're going to draft 32nd, so I don't care what anybody says. We're winning that Super Bowl this year. Everybody's so worried about the last 2 games. It's players have bad games. We weren't going to go 16-0. We're going to be fine. No,
I think this is the thing. Jerry Hughes gets pressures, but he can't finish the job. And Rico says doubtful. He thinks Jerry stays. I also think Jerry stays. Like, I don't think it you're probably going to see that contract through with him. And then after next year, he'll probably be gone because I believe he's there through next year and that's it.
Yes.
So, Jerry Hughes constantly, what I see from him is he's getting in there. He doesn't set contain though. And he constantly gets run around from the outside. He never gets home. He has 0 sacks this year as Bills guys said. 0 sacks for Jerry Hughes this year. So
I know, but pressures do matter. I mean,
pressures do matter.
Pressures do matter. But
quarterback can just roll out and run away.
I mean, either that or they throw it downfield. So I mean, like the gentleman stated, I mean, he's not hitting home, so that's a problem.
It is a problem. Rico says Jerry lacks the ABCs. Can you tell me what that is, fellas? Let me think about this. The ABCs always be containing. Like, I don't know. What is it? Rico, you're gonna have to tell me. You're gonna have to tell me what that means.
I mean, I have no idea. The only thing I can think of is when it comes to ABCs, it's a defensive end.
Always be closing. Okay, I was like, I wasn't thinking the business sense. Yes, I've heard that before, but I was thinking,
I've never heard that one before myself personally, but
it's a big sales mantra. Always be closing. So okay. So let's talk about this then. Are there any like I asked Dan, and he thought like maybe going after like an edge rusher in the trade market. Is there anything in particular that you want to see the Bills do come trade deadline time? Do you want to see them make a move? And if so, do you have anybody in mind that you'd like to see them go after?
I would like to see us make a move personally. But the problem is that, like, I know a lot of people aren't going to like this. Like, I'm still a big fan of Dawson Knox, but man, I kind of feel like we also need a tight end, like an actual deep threat tight end to help be that security blanket. But I would like to see an edge rusher, an edge rusher and a cornerback. And the only cornerback, not the only cornerback, but the only edge rusher is Ryan. I can never even pronounce it, from Washington, whatever his last name.
Ryan
he's the only one on the trade block that's worth a damn.
Well, now that Yannick's gone to Baltimore, and
and I mean that's a trade that we very easily could have. I mean, like look at Baltimore, like Dave stated from Built in Buffalo. He stated, like Baltimore only had like $1 million more dollars in their salary cap, and they made it work. Why couldn't we have traded for Yanke, or however you pronounce it? Sorry, I'm getting tired, but I don't see why we couldn't have freaking. I don't see why we couldn't have made a trade for him. Like we need an edge rusher and we need a cornerback.
No, I don't. I want to just see if Rico's asking this question. So I think Cody was saying he wasn't a fan of Dawson Knox and that he wanted us to go after a tight end. So I'm gonna pretend like that's what the question is. That Rico,
why am I?
Why?
Why am I not?
Yeah.
I am a fan, but I'm tired of every time he plays, he always drops the ball. I think he'd be better off as a tight end too right now to learn underneath a true tight end one. I think he still needs a little bit of time to grow. He just
Yeah.
it's like having the best wide receiver. Let's say we have the best wide receiver that runs routes, pristine routes, but if he can't catch the ball, what the hell good is he? If he's going to keep dropping the ball or fumbling, I mean, he's a hell of a blocker. I just think he'd be better off as a tight end too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean, I know a lot of people aren't going to like me for that, but it's just my personal opinion. I think he's a better tight end too right now.
No, I mean,
Maybe in time he might turn into that, that next. I mean, he's got the potential to be that, Kelsey kind of tight end, but just right now he just, especially with the injuries, and I just think he would be better off as a tight end too,
yeah,
kind of learning underneath somebody.
Yeah, and Croft's a good one to learn under. I mean, Kyle says here Croft is tight end one, and that's true, right?
Yes, yeah, he is our tight end one right now.
And that's the thing that drives you crazy with Knox is because physically the attributes he has, like scream tight end
he's
one.
gifted, man. I mean, he is absolute. I mean, we've all seen some of those acrobatic catch, like when he played New England, man. I mean, good God. I mean, the dude is freaking physically gifted. He's got stone hands. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm still up in the air on him. I wanna see him succeed. I don't know. I think I don't know. I just wanted a true tight end like a Kelsey or a George Kittle or something like that on our team. That would set our offense over the edge, man.
It would, but I think, and like this is where I struggle because I would love someone like that, and I struggle because I feel like this team needs more on defense right now than they do on offense. I think they're okay getting away with having like their 4 receivers between Diggs, Beasley, Brown, and then Davis, and then sprinkling in Croft there. I think that's okay with me because I feel like we've shown we can score points with that style of offense, right? I mean, Knox had that nice screen in the Miami game, but
but think about it. Like the last 2 games, like you can't tell me like a George Kittle, like when Allen was really struggling, a security blanket like George Kittle, we might have even beat Kansas City. You know what I mean? Like and like Chris specifically states, when have the Bills ever had a top tight end? I mean, I can't think of one of the best tight ends. Statistically that we've ever had is Scott Chandler.
Yeah, I mean,
tell me where Scott Chandler would land on most of these depth charts right now in today's NFL.
I mean, you think about the tight ends the Bills have had over the last like several years. Like we overpaid for Charles Clay. Now he did have his moments.
Oh yeah,
overpaid for him. We had Robert Royal. We had Scott Chandler. We've had Lee Smith now 2 times. I mean, like you go back to what Jay Reamersma maybe was like the last good tight end we really had. Yeah, Richard Rush says it right here. Jay Reamersma. Yeah, Metzelars. Yeah, like you're going way back now to like the 90s to like even think about the last time the Bills had a really decent tight end. We had like guys like Tim Ewis. Remember him? I mean, we had some interesting players at tight end. Pierre says it isn't normal. It isn't normal for a young QB not to have his tight end, Lamar, Baker, Wentz, Jimmy Mahomes, all of that security blanket. The Bills don't. Yeah, you think about it. Lamar's got Mark Andrews.
Kingpins knows it.
Yeah, and they had Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews last year, by the way. Baker has Njoku and Hooper. Wentz has Goddard and Ertz. Jimmy
I would absolutely love for us to trade for David Njoku right now. I think David Njoku is a hell of a tight end, man. He is a hell of a tight end. I think he would flourish in this offense. I truly do.
I like Njoku, and I think like the Browns obviously threw big money at Austin Hooper in the offseason. And it doesn't – I mean, Njoku, I think, had his first touchdown of the year, not last week, but the week before. But it's like, are the Browns really utilizing him to the best the best of the ability? They probably – the only thing they would say with the Browns is they would probably be buyers right now too. They probably wouldn't be sellers just given their record, but you never know, right? You never know.
Yes, sir.
What they could do. Pierre says, "What up, Cody Phinney? My guy found his way on camera. Loving it. You're killing it, brother."
Thanks, Pierre. Hey, Pierre, don't forget, come week 16, well, after the end of the season, week 17, I'm going to take that Diggs jersey from that bet when Gabe Davis goes over 500 yards. Just saying, brother.
Is that a season total 500 for Gabriel Davis? You get
Yes,
a
sir.
decent.
Yes, sir. So mine, Pierre's bet was towards the beginning of the season. I said Gabe Davis was going to go over 500 yards, and Pierre said he wasn't. And I said, well, let's put a jersey on it. You know, let's put a jersey on it. He's like, all right. And there was a bunch of people that witnessed it. So I'm just saying, Pierre, I wear large, but extra large. So I think I'll choose a Diggs one, come the end of the season. I bet you about week 9, 10, he'll be hovering around that area.
What is he at right now? He's got to be like doing pretty well already, right? I'm gonna check
Gabe Davis.
I'm just checking his stats really quick. He
should be right around what, 2 something, probably around 200 yards.
He's just under 200 yards, 194. So I think you're.
That was a hell of a guess.
You're looking pretty good on that bet right now. Mm-hmm. And Matt Pierce says, I don't remember that bet, and he's laughing.
Oh yeah. Of course you don't now. You'd remember if Gabe Davis had like 8 yards.
Of course. All right, so let's start talking a little bit about this Jets game. Obviously, it's still pretty early in the injury week. We've got some guys that are back practicing. Milano's back practicing. Trey didn't practice today. I'm just pulling up the Bills injury report.
When I was looking at the injury report, the one
Trey was limited, excuse me.
Yes.
But the DNPs today were John Brown, were Dawson Knox, who hasn't practiced and he's been out, so I would expect him to be out. Tyrell Dodson, who we know is going to be week to week. Cody Ford, who's going to be week to week, and Tyler Croft, not injury related. I believe he just had a baby, so I think Croft it's not an injury. So
well, congratulations to him, man.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think? It seems to me right now that like at least early in the week, it's like hard to judge these early week injury reports, but Trey and Norman being limited and Cam Lewis being limited, practicing with a club on his hand is kind of making me worried here. Like, fortunately, we're playing the Jets this week, and it seems like Jamison Crowder maybe isn't going to play. He had a groin injury.
But
it looks like they may be getting Denzel Mims this week, and Perryman's obviously on the other side. So injury, quick early week injury assessment. How are you feeling right now about these injuries?
I don't feel good about injuries at all. I don't like seeing a single name on my team at all. Like if there's an injury, I don't even care if it's our second string. I don't like seeing our players being injured, but truthfully, let them rest. We're going to spank those Jets anyways. We could throw Barkley in there if we wanted to. So
hey, we did that last year, week 17, if you recall.
Oh yeah, he lit him up like a Christmas tree.
So this kind of leads me into how I want to talk about the last topic tonight, which is, we talked about the fan sentiments, glass half full, glass half empty. The Jets coming up on the schedule now after playing 2 tough games, one against the Titans, one against the Chiefs. Is this the week that the Bills have to show you something? They have to show you some kind of improvement on that defensive line. They have to show you something against a terrible Jets team where you're 13-point favorites to say, hey, we're going to use this game to figure some things out and get the ship righted a little bit on defense in a game that honestly the Bills should win this game comfortably. I understand Lone Wolf saying don't overlook a divisional game, and I get that. And I don't think McDermott will have the guys overlooking that. But not necessarily from overlooking the Jets, but just for asserting your dominance and like showing that you're prepared and showing that you have the players and the personnel to put a good effort forward on the defensive side of the ball. Is this the game that it needs to happen? And is this good timing to have this game right now? Or is it bad timing because is there a chance the Bills could slip up and lose this game?
I don't think it's bad timing because if we lose to the Jets, I'm gonna fucking burn everything Buffalo. But no, what I want to see improved is I want to see our run game improve, and the Jets do have a decent defensive line. So I think we need to make a statement with our run game. The run game has been non-existent, and it's getting ridiculous. We were expecting big things from Devin Singletary, and it's you remember last week we were talking about signing Le'Veon Bell.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a statement. So I think Devin Singletary has a lot on his shoulders right now, and I really think we need to step up on our running game. Because no running game against Kansas City, I think that's a big thing that killed us as well. They have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL, and we couldn't do shit against them.
Yeah,
Sorry
and
for the language.
no, that's okay. But that actually leads into a good point, which we haven't really even talked about yet, which was the release of Quentin Spain. There's some mixed reports out there.
Well, Joe Feliciano was at practice Wednesday, so I don't know, man. I don't know if he's gonna play Sunday. I mean, but he was. I was reading something that said he was at practice Wednesday.
He's practicing. The Bills still haven't activated him yet off the IR, so we'll see what happens with that. But the Spain release is interesting timing, right? Because we haven't gotten the run game going. You have guys that are still injured. Cody Ford is week to week now with an injury. So like Brian Winters has been dinged up. Feliciano's not all the way back yet. I mean, Lone Wolf says, how did our run game do against the Jets last time? Not great, right?
Not great. No, we only had 90 yards or something.
They're tough to run against. So like,
yeah.
I actually think that it's probably, I actually think it's probably going to go the other way. I think the Bills are going to come out and do what they did in week one and try to throw it all.
Pass the ball.
Throw it around the yard.
And show that Allen just had a couple bad days. I mean, I could absolutely see that, but I think if we established a run game against a good run defense, I think that would kind of set the motion, and it'd be, I don't know, it would kind of knock that boulder off Devin Singletary's shoulders. Because I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe it's a sophomore slump or something. I don't know. But he does not look like the same running back that we all fell in love with last year.
No, but yeah, I mean, it's hard for me because like, how much of this am I going to put on Singletary and how much am I going to put on the offensive line? The Bills clearly were interested in Le'Veon Bell enough to think that the offensive line
is doing sufficient.
Wasn't an issue, right? Like they're doing enough to the fact that we're going to go after a running back and not help on the line or otherwise. So, I mean, Daniel, he's always very kind of blunt with his comments, says the Bills need to improve the run D and get the run game going. Yeah, both sides.
Absolutely.
Right? Both
100%.
sides here. I mean, look, the Jets don't have Le'Veon and Bell anymore. He was a non-factor really in that first game. They're going to be throwing the likes of Frank Gore and LaMichael Pirine at us this week. I mean, if ever a game for the run D to kind of get right, this should be it.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think this is the game that our run game gets going.
No,
but
I would like to see it going, because that's what I'm saying. Like, it would make a statement if we had our run game going against a good run defense to show other teams that we can run the ball. You know what I mean?
And that's kind of like, I think where fans struggle to, you're never going to make everyone happy, I guess.
No.
Like, if you run the ball 3 times in a row, people are going to be like, what the hell is Dayball doing? Like, this is a good run.
But if we move the chains, I mean, if we run the ball 3 times in a row and get a first down, pound that rock. I mean, I personally, like everybody else, I'm sure in the comments section, I would rather see Allen throw for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns and no interceptions. But in the end, I'm not one of those fantasy football people. I don't care about stats. I care about getting the dub. That's all I care about. I just want my team to win. I want my team to win, and I don't care how ugly it looks. I don't care what it comes down to. Just win the damn ball game, man.
Yep. No, I mean, we have to win regardless, right? Like, I think the difference between now and week one was week one, like, I really wanted to win with some style because
it's a divisional rivalry, but
divisional game, we come out guns blazing. Josh Allen's throwing the ball everywhere. It was kind of like, Brian, he keeps it real too. He's the Singletary is not the problem, fellas. And like Rico said,
we've seen plenty of plays of him shaking and baking people, man. Like, I mean, look at the Rams. I mean, he made that guy look like he was on skates.
Yeah. But it's you can't do much when you're getting tackled 2 yards in the backfield because your offensive line can't block for you. And I think I actually think it's more of the offensive line's problem than Singletary. So even though the Bills were going after a guy like Le'Veon Bell, I don't think that means in my mind that the O-line is performing. It just might mean that, like, hey, we have a chance to get Le'Veon Bell, and that's what it comes down to. Richard Forbes says there's absolutely nothing wrong with Singletary stomping for 10 when there wasn't much there. And if it wasn't for his moves, like, would probably be even worse.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And obviously Josh helps with some of our rushing statistics over the past few years, and we're not a good running team this year. He hasn't been running as much either. Now, he did run more against the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. So the thing you worry about there, and someone mentioned that as well, in the comment section, is this Greg Williams, kind of dirty plays.
Always.
You worry about that with Josh running the ball. Like, what's going to happen? And
I think somebody needs to punch Greg Williams right in the mouth. That's all he does is headhunt every freaking game. You can see it plain as day. That dude should not even be allowed to coach in the NFL.
Well, yeah, with Bountygate and as many chances as he's gotten, it's kind of incredible how much run he's gotten. You know, I guess, you know, people don't care. I mean, that's what it comes down to, is coaches don't care. And like, at the end of the day, Adam Gase is, who knows, man, what's going on in that guy's head. But
no. What would you think? What would for trade deadline? What would you personally like to see?
I personally would like to see us go for some beef in the middle of the defensive line, whoever that is, whether it's Dalvin Tomlinson,
that big body that's going to take on those double blocks and soak it up.
You need someone big to take up two guys, right? If you're a defensive lineman, you need to force your will and force their line to dedicate two resources to blocking you, right? I mean, to me, that could set the tone for the entire rest of the defense. It could help Edmonds out. It could help Oliver out. I think that, you know, for me, that's what I would go after if someone was available, like a Rankins or a Dalvin Tomlinson, someone like that Ryan Talbot mentioned. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know that the Bills are going to do that, given how much dollars they put into the defensive line otherwise before the season, between Jefferson and Butler and Addison. It's another investment that maybe they're not willing to make. You know, Quinnen Williams is apparently on the trade block right now for the Jets, is being reported. Now, I
would eat up on that. He's a good player, man.
He is, but I don't know that they're going to trade him in division. But again,
Probably
it's like
not.
It's just one of those things. Like, I want to see him add some beef to the middle.
Well, that just goes to show people, like, so many people hated Starr, but he was just one of those players that just goes to prove to you, you know, he was more valuable to this defense than what people really realize. Yeah, his stats didn't care. That's why I say that's why I always diss on fantasy football. I'm not going to go into details about that. I know almost probably everybody plays fantasy football, but in my opinion, that's what the problem is, because everybody worries about stats too much. Like, he was a damn good freaking player. Mm-hmm. Him opting out, I think, really hurt this defensive line more than what I think people are just starting to realize it.
Yeah, it could be. Only One Buffalo says Marcel Darius is free agency right now. Money, we could get him back. He's a mess. Yeah, he's 300 plus. I mean, he's been on the Bills before. I don't know what kind of football shape he's in. Like, I don't want to speculate on that, but that would be a nice fill. DeJuan,
bring him onto the practice squad try to, you know what I mean, see how he works out.
DeJuan Long Jr. says Geno. I'm assuming he's referring to Geno Atkins. That could be an interesting target. He's apparently frustrated with his role with the Bengals. He's only 30 years old. Could be a nice.
But isn't Geno Atkins starting to slow down a little bit?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Do you want to get another guy that's on a decline? You want to get an ascending player, and that's what the Bills have.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying that's what Bean preaches, right? He's like, goes after guys that are ascending. You know, he tries to, but then it's like they do. You know, they go and sign like a Mario Addison in free agency. So,
well, yeah, that's what I didn't understand that. I mean, I understand, you know, because the whole stats thing. You know, he gets 9 sacks a year, but I mean, for $10 million, I mean, that was the same thing that Shaq Lawson signed, and Shaq Lawson was. I mean, he might not have been good at rushing the passer, but he was a damn good run defender. I don't care what anybody says. He was a damn good run defender.
Oh, yeah, he's an excellent run defender. And to be honest with you, like I said, like, Addison's sacks this year have been kind of hollow to me. I mean, I don't think they've really come in big spots. So I'm not really that impressed. Rico says, I love this idea of bringing a guest for 10. Yeah, this is it's been good. You know, we try to, you know, Cody, you know, has been like a very loyal viewer, and has always super chatted. So like we got to get some people on it. Like, we preach here at Buffalo Fanatics, what sets us apart, like our personalities set us apart, obviously Rico being the headliner there, but we also really preach fan engagement, right? Fan engagement is big for us. We want to interact with people. We don't want to be that radio guy that takes a call and then cuts the person off from what they're saying because they don't agree with them. We don't want to be that. We want to be the type that, you know, interacts with the fans and even does stuff like this where we bring people on and have them on the show. Like, we were supposed to have a third person on, but she couldn't make it tonight. So, you know, we got Cody and Dan on, who are regulars. So we got to keep doing this. Rico's going to probably do this as well on his show. So that's what we do here. That's what we do.
Now, what are you expecting out of the Jets game come Sunday?
Well, what I'm expecting out of the Jets game is I expect the passing game to get right. Okay, that's number one for me. Like the passing game has been a little sluggish the last 2 games, and it hasn't even honestly been the worst part about the team. Like people are going to sit there and blame Allen and blame Dayball for like not putting up more points against Chiefs, but like honestly. I said this after the Titans game. If it wasn't for Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs in the Titans game, we would have lost by even more.
Oh yeah,
I mean, so this is a get right game for the passing game, and this is a get right game for the run defense. Because honestly, like this should be an
easy
matchup.
win.
The Jets' offensive line isn't spectacular. They're okay, like probably better than we give them credit for. But they've got Frank Gore and LaMichael Pirine running the ball.
And you got to have respect for Frank Gore, man. I mean, that dude is just a tank that does not want to stop.
Exactly, and I respect Frank Gore. He had a good game last week, but like this isn't Le'Veon Bell we're talking about. This isn't Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This isn't Derrick Henry. This is Frank Gore and LaMichael Pirine. Like this is a get right game for the Bills. They're 13-point favorites. I'm going on the pregame Sunday morning to give my prediction, but I expect the Bills to cover this spread. I'm not going to give my score prediction tonight. I'm gonna let you round out the show with your score prediction for this game. But I fully expect the Bills to cover this spread in this game and go and win running away with this one. So
absolutely.
So why don't we only have like 2 minutes left. So Cody, I want to give the floor to you, and I want you to give me your final take on the Jets game in your score prediction.
Well, I mean, I agree with just about everything you said. I expect Josh Allen to really light it up the scoreboard. He's got some making up to do. Yeah, all the haters came out, of course, but I mean, I'm expecting I expect a blowout. I fully expect a blowout. Like if I had to guess, I'd say like a 38-15, like full cover the spread. If you're gonna make a bet, put it on Buffalo. If not, we might even put up a 40 burger. But I expect our defense to even step up.
Yeah, I would expect so too. There's some couple good questions in the comments. Is Flacco starting in? Darnold's been limited in practice so far this week. I think Darnold's probably going to play this week.
I would rather play Darnold anyway.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter, I'll say. The Jets are going to be down Jamison Crowder. It looks like the groin injury. He's the one that's really hurt us the most in the past, at least.
But the thing is, we have not met Denzel Mims yet. And I was big on Denzel Mims during the draft. Him and Chase Claypool. I want to chase Claypool more than anything, but I would have loved to have Denzel Mims. Yeah.
I mean, the one thing you do worry about is, Trey should be playing. Norman should be playing. Like, the corner situation's a little bit worrisome, but if they're in, I think we'll be okay covering the receivers. Milano, obviously you worry about him. If he doesn't make it all the way back this week, then Herndon's obviously a guy you need to be concerned with. But Herndon's been kind of quiet this year, to be honest with you.
I mean, even Edmonds has me a little concerned too. He has not been playing up to par at all. I mean, do you feel that maybe that the shoulder is bugging him a little too much, and that's what's causing his downplay? Or
well, Leslie Frazier said, he's still got that injury, and that it's something he's working through, and he has confidence that Edmonds is going to work through it. But man, some of the mental mistakes are really showing, and I don't know if it's I talked about this with Steve. I don't know if the mental mistakes are showing because he's playing with a little bit of a mental hurdle there, or some fear with the injury. And he's just not letting his natural kind of instincts and smarts take over. Because, we saw him do it last year. He's capable. But so what's happened? Is it the injury? Is it something else? I don't know. Is it not having Milano next to him? It's tough. I mean, Rico says here, I don't expect a blowout. Buffalo is exposed, and Jets are going to try to expose and keep the score close. We still win, but it won't be a blowout.
I mean, I can respect that. I mean, there's plenty of film out there for the last 2 weeks, but the problem is the Jets have Adam Gase, who's too stupid to even freaking watch film, apparently. And I don't think they have the personnel to kind of do what the Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs have done. No, I don't.
No, they don't.
I just don't see them keeping it close, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rico. I know you're going to hate me, but I have to respectfully disagree. I expect us to give him an ass whooping.
The only way I can see it being close is if we really struggle like on third down on offense in this game. Like if they really stymie the run and Josh struggles on third down, and for whatever reason, Frank Gore and LaMichael Pirine kind of have a day on us, then that's going to be an issue. So,
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, I think the Bills should win this one. I hope it's a comfortable win, but you never can guarantee that, right?
Now, what would secure a Jets win? What would, in your opinion, what would the Jets have to do to get a win, to steal a win from us?
I think if for the Jets to steal a win, I think Frank Gore and Pirine are going to run the ball for 40 times combined against us. That's honestly, that's what I think will do it. If they keep our offense off the field, they establish a running game, which obviously, I mean, look, the Chiefs did somewhat by design, which was admitted to by Sean McDermott, but you're not going to play that same type of scheme, I don't think, against the Jets. You're not going to play coverage against the Jets as much as you do against the Chiefs because you're not as scared there. So I would expect the run defense to come back to where it was kind of trending prior, where we held Derrick Henry under 60 yards, where we held Josh Jacobs under 50 yards. So to me, the only way the Jets really kind of have a chance to beat the Bills here is if for some reason that run D goes absent again this week, and it's not by design and they just play poorly. That, to me, that's the only way.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. I don't know. I just don't. I mean, that was just play devil's advocate in that, but I fully expect a blowout. I expect our team to be pissed off from the last 2 weeks.
I mean, Rico's right. The Jets are desperate. I totally understand that, and desperate teams are dangerous. But the Bills, like, there's got to be some sense of, not desperation, but there's got to be some sense of urgency from the Bills too. Like, the Bills can't come in here thinking like, oh, we're just going to walk. Like, the Bills need to have urgency here too, because
last time I remember, the Jets are an NFL team, so it's like people seem to forget that. I mean, I understand where Rico's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, and look, at the end of the day, like, we play the Patriots after that, we play the Seahawks after that, and then the Cardinals. So, like, the Bills can't go into this game without a sense of urgency. Like, this is the Bills have to win this game. Like, they need to win this game.
Yeah,
because the schedule gets very tough the next 3 weeks after this between New England. Say what you want about them. I know they lost to Denver. That's going to be a tough game. Then you play Seattle. Then you play the Cardinals, who just demolished Dallas on Monday Night Football. So, you know, the Bills have to have some desperation in their bones too in this game. So I agree with the Jets would be desperate, but the Bills need to have a little bit of that as well.
Oh yeah, and I mean, playing a team that's desperate and willing to do anything, that's a scary thing. But the problem is
scary when you're playing against Greg Williams. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but my thing is like, who are you going to pick, Sean McDermott or Adam Gase when it comes to coaching? That's why I just don't see the Jets even keeping it close. I mean, I see Sam Darnold seeing ghosts and getting thrown on his ass all day. That's what I think's going to happen.
Well, let's hope so. So we're about out of time here. We're going to get to watching this lovely NFC East showdown tonight.
Absolutely.
The Giants and Eagles. A lot of my friends are Giants fans, so we'll see how that turns out. But Cody, thank you so much for staying on. I know you stayed on longer than you probably anticipated, but I appreciated that.
It was great. Thank you, sir. I had a blast.
I did too. Appreciate everybody in the comment section as always. And as you know, we always end the show with the Go Bills. So I'm going to let you lead us out with that, and I'll wrap it after that.
Yes, sir. Go Bills.
Go Bills.